everyone, and welcome. This is the first time I'm doing a podcast interview / recording with my eyes open. This is one that we're going to focus more on the human side of stuff. So my beautiful friend Jess, who you will recognize from the podcast, is going to ask me some questions about what it's like to be the human that has learned to channel, because I'm still learning and I'm still evolving. And Jess is my friend. We chat about it constantly. And so we thought we'd have one of these conversations that you guys could be a part of as well. So ask away, Jess. What do you want to know?
So I'm fascinated by all of this, and that's why I ask Maida questions all the time and want to know what's going on. So the first question is, what I really am interested in is, like, how does it feel when Auron comes through, and does it feel differently now than when you first started?
Good question. So how it feels now is I feel like my heart starts to glow like the pictures of Jesus that have got the big glowing heart. I feel this, like, I want to call it a superhuman love in my heart that just feels like it's just there. And whoever's in front of me, I just fucking love them. Like, I love them. I don't care if I've never met them before. I just feel so much love for them. But the other thing that I experience is it's almost like my mind expands to the size of the universe and doesn't really have thoughts in it. And so it comes with this really expansive feeling. So my heart feels massive, glowing, loving, and expansive. And I think of myself as a really loving person, and I am. Like, I love big in my life. But the quality of the experience of my heart in love when Auron is flowing through is a different level than what I've felt before. So it's like my mind has to expand. It's like I'm in there and I can hear the stuff that's coming through, but I'm not like following it. At the start, I was like really wanting to not miss anything. I was a bit intense about it and I was kind of getting in the way of the process. But now it's like I can hear it all. But at the end, it's like it all falls out of my head until I have a chat with someone or I listen back and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I can kind of like re-access it. But I'm not hyper vigilant anymore, which I used to be. When I first started doing it, I put all this pressure on myself to be a clear channel and, not interfere. And that ended up with me interfering way more than if I wasn't trying to interfere, So I've been doing some channeling for myself every night, which originally was really quite hard. But I feel like I've been getting a bit of an apprenticeship because Auron kind of talked me through, notice this and try this. And so I feel like I'm getting better and better and will continue to get better and better. So now I feel relaxed, whereas before I held a bit of stress in me that I wanted to do a good job. So it's a lot more fun now than it was at the start. Well, no, that's not true. It's different kind of more relaxed fun because, it's mind-blowing. So it's always been fun.
I'm sure when we talked about it way back when, which really isn't that long ago when you think about it, however, I think you said it felt like they were coming through on one side of your head, and now this time you've sort of said that it feels like you're expanding. That sounds like the growth of it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it first started coming through, the very, very first experience I had of it, it felt like an energetic snorkel went into my brain on the left side of my head. And for ages, it's like I only felt them coming in through the left. And over time, that has I haven't thought about that, so I'm glad you remember that. It evened itself out without me realizing that it was evening itself out. But it feels like it's something coming through the top of my head. So Auron say this all the time, and I say it too, like, we're all infinite. We all have all the wisdom. So I had conversations with people earlier on going, yeah, but isn't it just you? And I'm like, yeah, on one level, like it is, in the same way that, we're all divine, we're all the things. But my actual experience is that something is landing through my head. If I think about what's landing, it's not as like flowy. And so it lands in my head and it comes out my mouth and I hear it when other people hear it. Like, it's not in my healing work, like I would hear things in my head and then I would repeat them. Whereas this is different because it's like I'm hearing them with my ears, but I'm feeling the experience of it kind of moving through. Like, I feel the quality of the energy of it. And also I get a sense sometimes that's more than they say. So when I do private sessions with people sometimes and we're kind of having a chat or a debrief afterwards, I'll go, oh, they didn't say this, but I felt it's like I could feel more. And it's only when we're talking about it that I can reactivate that in order to verbalize it. But it's not kind of verbal inside of me. It's like a sense.
So do you feel like you're almost interpreting the energy or the sense into words, but it's happening all at the same time?
Yeah, I do think that. And they talk really fast sometimes. And when they do a thing where they sometimes just repeat a message, like when it has to go deep energetically in layers for people, like there's been a couple, two recently, where they've gone, it doesn't have to be hard, 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 it doesn't have to be, but like my human tongue gets caught up in it. But when I'm channeling it, normally it's like I can talk so fast. I talk fast generally, but when they've got that like intensity of communication of an energy, my tongue can do amazingly fast things.
And they seem to have different words to the words Maida uses.
Yeah. So, yeah, they say behoove a lot. I actually love that. Yeah, their language structure is different to mine. It's a bit more formal. I don't know if it was you, but someone said recently, it's like someone who's just learning to speak human.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it is. It's like when you first learn a language, you kind of learn the rules of it or whatever. So it's like the sentence structure is not how I talk. But they, like, I think because they're using my vocabulary, right? So when I used to watch other channels, I would think that they would access everything in the whole universe without any kind of limitation, and they could give you the pharmacological name of some drug because it's being channeled, so why couldn't they? But now, and that might be possible, and I might just not be at that level yet. I'm still learning. But my feeling is that it's coming through the filter of me. So it's like my brain accesses the wording that is available to it, which is why I don't channel in, I don't know, Greek.
Yeah. It might be worth asking that question of Oren one night.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And is it a part?
I think you could. Like, I think what's speaking in tongues, like, you know, from the Bible days or whatever, I think it's probably that.
Yeah.
And people do light language and stuff. Like, that's not mentally understood. So I think it's possible.
When you first started to, so I personally can hear the difference between Maida and Oren. So when you're speaking, you speak differently, not just language, but also tone and, just it sounds like a different voice to me. It's getting more, in my perception, like it's feeling like it flows easier. Yeah. Can you feel the difference between then and now?
Yes, and I think that's going to continue, so that ultimately, I don't know if they'll sound exactly like me, but I think they'll sound less formal and more human, because my understanding is like their role is to be here as mirrors to us of like, you know, who we really are, which is like amazing, divine, powerful, free, all those things that we can forget when we're kind of in the heat of living. And I think the more human they present, the more they can fulfill that role rather than being something separate, different, showing us. I think that they get more relatable. And I remember early on, like I got a healing and it was about my connection to Oren, and it was talking about the fact that like they use my sense of humor. And so the channel is like an important part of the information coming through. Like I'm like a prism. And so like I'm not more special than anyone else, but I've done a lot of work to get myself really clear and able to receive. But Oren is a particular match to me because what they say matches me, like my perspective, my beliefs, my point of view, all that stuff. It's like an energetic match. And they coach me in the fact that I used to try and keep myself out of it because I didn't want to taint it, right? Like I thought it had to be really clean and clear, and I didn't want Maida's personality or Maida's beliefs to interfere. And so I used to, this was part of the stress I used to feel before, I used to try and kind of like go la, 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 inside of myself so I wouldn't hear, so I wouldn't have opinions and I wouldn't interfere. And it was in a channeling with Oren where they said, well, you're not irrelevant here. Like, you're not just some body that we're hijacking to get our message across. Like, this is a co-creation. Like you're a part of it. And through the prism of you, there are particular people who will connect to our energy because it's being delivered through the prism of you. Like other beings are channeled by other people. Their information comes through the prism of that person, and that's going to specifically attract that kind of person. And so trying to keep myself out of it so I don't ruin it or taint it was completely achieving the opposite, which is I was tense inside. And they don't want me. They said, we don't want you unconscious. Like, we don't want you absent because you're a part of it.
So let's talk about that, other beings and things. Let's start with, what is Oran in your language and their language, really?
So they've been asked this question before and they don't really go deep into it. Their words have been that they're a collective of souls. Some of them have been incarnate on our planet and some of them have not. But they're not like a set group of like 100 beings or whatever. It's like they morph and they expand because they keep telling us like we are the whole, they are the whole. We are kind of the same, but we're also kind of different. And so what I notice watching back, like on the videos and stuff, sometimes the energy will shift mid-channeling. And so there's a couple where at the start it's like, blah, 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 like really fast. And then something shifts and it's really slow and spacious. And the person has said to me that it felt like it switched, like it was a different Oran, like a different being that was being channeled or collective that was being channeled. So for me, watching back, I can feel that and I can hear it in what's coming out of my mouth, but the experience is still the same. So to me inside, it still feels like Oran, but it's like they pull different aspects of them in order to answer that person's specific question with the exact energetics that's required in that moment. But for me, internally as an experience, it doesn't change. It feels like Oran. So it's like something that like, it's not a set fixed thing the way we would think about it. It's like sometimes it's like that, sometimes it's like that, because it's all just kind of like energy. It's not like, you know, you're Jess, I'm Maida, we're here. Like, it's not like that with them.
Yeah. And so you were inspired by Esther Hicks and Abraham. We'll talk about that. And I know you've spoken to them about that. Like, how does what Esther do translate to what you do, and how do they work as different beings?
So I haven't yet met Esther, so I don't know about her experience. We will see what happens. I've dreamt about her quite a bit. But they were an absolute inspiration to me because when I first came across Abraham Hicks, I felt like coming home. Like I was like, oh man, I've known this all along, but didn't know how to say it. That's the same as the experience I get when I listen to Oran or where I channel Oran. It's like, oh yeah, of course, like of course. And so the energetic quality of it is really similar. But when I first heard about Esther, like I was so desperate to be a channel. I don't know if it's because I could sense that at some point that would happen, but I had a desperation to it and a trying to will it into being. And I would meditate and I would talk to God and the universe and, you know, beg for it to happen and push and push and push and push. So in hindsight, I think it was because I could sense it was calling me in a way, but like channeling is allowing. Like think about what like you have to do, right? Like to be a voice channel, you've got to be willing to speak without knowing what the fuck you're going to say. Like the level of surrender, and not surrender in a disempowered way, but the level of allowing that requires is so massive, especially when they're talking about things that are a bit controversial. So in order to trust enough to not edit, like to allow it to be, like I've done a shit ton of work over the last 20 years to build that feeling in me that I can flow with life and not try and like control it. Not all the way there yet, but it's way better than 12 years ago when all I wanted to do was control the universe to give me what I wanted. Like I may have felt within me that at some point channeling was calling me and it was a thing, but I was not in a space where I could have allowed it. I was just not. There was too much desire in me to manage and control. Like I could not, like sometimes I can hear Oran saying stuff and I'm like, you know? Yeah. And so, but like I know enough to not stop it. Like I know enough to not edit it.
Yeah.
And I feel safe enough.
That's good. With that allowing and the falling into the trust of it and the controversial things, how do you feel in your daily life as Maida with Oren? Like, has it caused any sort of tension around you or with the people you know and love? Or
I wouldn't say that it's caused tension, but my poor beloved partner, Matt, who is like a true blue Aussie sailor, who is not into energy at all, but he's so wildly supportive of something that he just does not understand. That's been something where I've had to be really kind of understanding, because in my world, channeling is like obviously a thing, right? It's like I don't even have to explain to people what it is. But like if I think about trying to explain it to Matt or the people that are more from Matt's world, like I don't even know how to explain it. Like when I first tried to tell him about it, he's like, what? So are you possessed? Like, are you saying... I'm like, well, no, but I guess, I don't know. Like, I don't, yes, sort of, yeah. He's like, because originally when we got together early on, I said to him something about, God talks to me and tells me blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm not thinking that I'm some rare messiah type person. Like, God talks to everyone. Like, we all get gut feelings and intuitions. And he's like, God talks to you. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but he talks to you as well. Like, he goes, you really think God talks to you? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, can you please not tell any of my friends? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't need to tell your friends. That's okay. But then like this channeling started happening and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to like have to share this with the world, which means it can't be quiet, which means some of Matt's friends will see it. And, like it matters to me that Matt's comfortable. And so I spoke to him about it and he's so sweet and supportive and it's great. But I could see the discomfort in his face when I'm A, trying to explain what channeling is, and B, telling him I'm going to put it on YouTube and social media where his friends are like there. And he's like, okay, I'm really proud of you.
Bless.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's caused tension. Like there's been no fights or, nothing kind of hard. But I'm still not clear. And if anyone's got any ideas, message me or comment or whatever. I'm not clear on how to explain to someone what channeling is. So I use Abraham Hicks a lot as an example. So if someone goes, what's channeling? I go, do you know what Abraham Hicks is? Like, have you heard of them? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, easy. It's like that, but different. But if they haven't, I actually don't really know what the starting point for that conversation is. Like, I don't know. I know how to do it. I know it's magic. I know it's amazing. I know it's uplifting. And I kind of compare it to like, I don't know how electricity works, but I know how to switch the switch so that the light comes on. Like I know how to channel. I know it's powerful. I know the light is amazing, but I can't describe to you why when I flick a switch, the light comes on. Like I don't know what electricity, how it works. And channel is kind of the same for me. I don't know how to explain it.
Maybe because I know that you're destined to take this to the world, Matt is like your litmus test of being able to explain it in a way that they go,
yeah. It's like it's the same with the energy healing. I've never really known how to describe that. Like I can tune into energy and help you to shift it and move it, and I can feel. And in hindsight, what I realize as well is that the 15-year career I've had in energy healing was a training for the channeling, because it's energy coming through. But not only that, for 15 years, I've felt and known things about people that I shouldn't feel and know. And actually I had to, in that time, learn to trust myself to speak when I was saying things that were controversial and challenging and I had no proof of. So it's like the energy healing has been the building blocks for the foundation of my channel, I guess, for me to be able to do it.
I think what you touched on there is pretty important for every single person. Women in particular, intuition seems to be a little bit more at the forefront of trusting that gut instinct and speaking out. I know I still do it. I know that I can do this and I still get like a little yes when I'm right about something that comes through.
Yeah.
So trust is big in ourselves. Tell us about the very first time Oren came through.
The very first time was I've got a friend who's an amazing intuitive massage person. She's a healer, and I was having a massage with her and I lay on the table and I just felt like I entered this alternate state of consciousness, and she's really open and spiritual and stuff. And so I said to her, hey, I just kind of feel like I could answer any question about the nature of the universe. Can you just ask me some stuff? And she said something like, why are we always looking for love outside of ourselves? And I knew that I wasn't allowed to think. I knew that I had to just like, I don't know how I knew, but I knew I just had to open my mouth and stuff had to fall out. And we got this really amazing answer about like the fact that we're taught over time when we're young, when we're small, that when we behave this way, we get smiles. When we behave this way, we get frowns. Smiles looks like love. Frowns looks like the withdrawal of love. So over time, we get unconsciously trained over and over again to look outside to get our validation. It's a gradual process, which is obvious again when you hear it, but I hadn't thought about it like that. So it was like this depth of answer that in theory I knew, because when I heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, but it landed in my head through that snorkel, you know, and then came out of my mouth. But I knew that I couldn't think an answer.
How did you feel after it happened the first time?
I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, what the fuck? Like, that was cool. Like, I wonder if I can do that again ever. And for the first few weeks, I could only ever really do it on the massage table. And so after that, we started recording them. Like we'd just put the tape recorder here just in case some good shit happens. And sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't.
The next question I don't think we've ever discussed, so I'm intrigued to know. What do you think the purpose is of Oren and you and this platform that you're building?
I feel like my whole fucking life has been building up to this. The life that I've lived. So my mum was an alcoholic. I've had a health condition that was a physical disability. I ended up in a cult. I ended up in an abusive emotional relationship. The whole of my life has been a process of getting really wildly disempowered and then reclaiming my power and my self-worth. Those two things. So I feel like the entire purpose of my life is for me to embody this for myself and then to kind of be an example of it, is the fact that we are all so incredibly worthy already. We are so incredibly worthy already, but we train ourselves out of it with that stuff that we spoke about before. But it's our natural state, so we don't have to work as hard to reclaim that as what we've had to work to pretend to lose it or to disconnect from it. And because I was in a situation where I thought I had a spiritual teacher who was there for my upliftment and it realized it wasn't, it ended up being a disempowering cult. I am so passionate about that. Every single person is powerful, that you don't need a middleman between you and the divine. Even though it could look like Oren and I are that, they constantly say, and I will constantly say, you don't need us. We're handy. We're helpful. We're like training wheels. That's ace. Like, use it, but do not be dependent, because you know. It's just that sometimes we need help in dismembering, in pulling apart the foundations that we have put over the top of our power, because it hasn't gone anywhere. Like, for all of us, it hasn't gone anywhere. But there's just things that we do and we tell ourselves that are really ineffective, because everyone is powerful, everyone is amazing, everyone is divine, everyone deserves everything. And I feel like humanity is up-leveling. Like, all the shit that's going on in the world is bringing up to the surface a whole bunch of crap that has been around for a long, long time. Like, it looks like it's new because coronavirus is new, right? But the insecurity that we've all lived with, like the disempowerment we've all lived with, the feeling that life happens at us and we can't really do much because we're small little people in life, like, that needs shifting, because it's actually not true. And so I could not be more passionate. Ever since I was little as well, I was like a seeker, and I like would say to God, I want to, I want to be an active force of, helping the world to shift. Like, I've always really cared about that. And I love what I do so much. Like, I will do it till the end of my day. So I'm committed. I think it's fun. Like, it's not draining for me. And I'm really, really passionate about helping in whatever way I can each individual to kind of realize that in themselves. And that's the same as Oren. Like, just we're a match because of that. Yeah.
Is there any part that scares you or you're a bit frightened of, or did it and it doesn't anymore? Or?
I've actively never wanted to be kind of famous or known. I, given what I've lived, had a history of kind of trauma and stuff, and I used to be really scared of people's anger and judgment, and the internet can be fucking brutal. And so jumping online and going, hey, I channel, infinite intelligence or whatever, I used to be really scared of that. I'm not going to say, no, hang on. It's not that I'm still scared of it because I'm not scared of it, but I'm not looking forward to any of that happening. You know what I mean? Like getting the shitty comments, getting the judgment, getting all that sort of stuff. But it used to be enough to stop me. Like I used to be scared of it and it used to stop me. And now, to be totally honest, like I've had none of it. Like literally not one shitty comment, like none of it. But if it happens, then, you know, and if I have emotions about it, that's just a chance for me to clear some crap up anyway, because like I know that it's amazing. I know that it's valuable, and it's not going to be for everyone. And it's going to be confronting for some people, especially if they're living a really disempowered situation. Like it feels shit to have someone tell you that really you're empowered, because it feels like blame, you know? So I'm not blaming anyone. It's not my intention, but I can see how that could be interpreted that way if they're feeling really disempowered. It's like, you know, like if you're all happy and shiny and someone else is grumpy, you're annoying to them. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be happy. And so I'm not scared of that now. But, you know, as my friend, I might ring you one day and go, oh my God, someone said this about me and I might need help. And that's fine. I can get support. But I'm not hiding now. Like I feel really deep in my heart the world needs this, like really, really needs this. And I'm happy to like do what I can to get it out there. So it'll happen. Like it has to happen. The world needs it.
What people can't see if they're listening on the podcast and not on YouTube is that as soon as you said famous, I nearly started laughing because I just know it to be true. It's going to happen. The world does need this and you, and it's going to happen in beautiful timing. So we'll deal with those haters if and when they arrive.
Yeah, well, they may not. Who knows? Like I'm putting a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube now and I've seen none of it. So, you know, it doesn't have to come my way.
I don't think I have any other questions for you.
Cool. Well, if anyone else has got them, you can jump onto the Facebook page or on Enmader on Facebook and on Instagram, or also on YouTube, I guess. So thank you, Jess, because I didn't quite know how to verbalize all the things, and I like responding, as you know. So I appreciate it.
I think we should do this again in a couple of years or whenever, when it feels right, when you've up-leveled again, so we can see how it's changed.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.